Hey y'all, hey! Welcome back to Heavenly Zen Designs, where crafting and chaos meet. We mix media art with decor, life, and more. You just never know what we're getting into next. Go grab your coffee and pull up a seat. We got lots to do, people, lots to do, and even more to talk about. My name is Kellie, and I am so excited you're here. Hey, before we begin, please do me a solid and share this channel with all of our friends. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you too can be the first to know when new videos are released. Well, hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be working on set 2 of our Honeybee theme. And honestly, you guys, when I got done with the first set, I was like, I want to do more stuff. So I decided that I was going to start with this chalk couture stencil. A little side note, my baby got a hold of it. So all those wrinkles you see on the wildflower text, yeah, she kind of mangled it before I even had a chance to pull it off the backing. Anywho, I laid this on here as best as I could to try and get it as centered as possible. And honestly, you guys, this was done several months ago, and this was the very first large chalk couture transfer that I have ever worked with. In fact, I did this before I even did My Roost, My Rules. I did not know what I was doing. I mean, it looks great, right? I got my bumblebee color on there and then my white chalk paste. I used several different colors on here thinking that I was like, oh, I'm the you know what. And this is going to look so good when I'm done. Oh my goodness. Here I go with some of my green, and I get my pink in there for the flowers, and then I do the crown. And you guys, oh my god. I thought at first I didn't push hard enough. So I tried to redo the honey part. So I realized that I don't know what I'm doing. Okay? I started to peel this up and I was like, oh my bleepity bleep bleep. What happened? I don't understand. Okay, well just go back and squeegee it. Maybe you didn't push it in hard enough. No, y'all. No, that's not what happened. You see, what happened was when you guys are using a transfer with chalk paste, you have to be quick like a bunny. I mean, quick. You have to lay the chalk paste on your transfer, gently press it in, peel up the transfer pretty much instantaneously as you're going, because if you don't, your chalk paste is going to dry within the transfer and it will not be where you tried to place it, i.e. perfect example. Okay? All right, you guys, so now I'm like, okay, I gotta get strategic with this. I did wash this transfer and I cleaned my chalkboard, and now I'm lining up my colors. I'm going to double match my colors to this transfer that we're gonna be using later. And I turned this transfer this way because I was trying to make sure I'd be able to peel it as I went, okay? So here I am in it to win it. I have every faith in me that I am gonna get this transfer and it is gonna be nice, okay? I make sure I have every squeegee that I need, all my chalk paste lined up, and I was trying to go as quick as possible. And let me tell you, my anxiety level was through the roof. Through the roof. Crafting should not be this chaotic, right? Wait, that is part of my tagline. Never mind. Just X-nay that I said that. I mean, if you ever question it, just know that crafting is chaos, okay? This was very chaotic for me. Just in case you guys are curious, this took me 6.5 minutes from start to finish, from the moment I initiated the chalk paste to the chalkboard until I peeled off the transfer. 6.5 minutes with all those colors. And you guys, look at how good this turned out. I did clean up some of the extra chalk paste that was on the chalkboard, and I just cannot believe how beautiful this is. I kind of wish that I did not put it on a chalkboard and actually put it on something that I could seal. I mean, I could seal this chalkboard, but I may want to use it in the future, so I'm not going to seal it. But I should, because it's so dang cute. I don't know. Why don't you guys tell me in the comments below? Would you seal it or would you not for future projects? projects? Let me know. All right, you guys, so now we are moving on to project number 2, and this is the rub-on transfer that I was trying to color match my honeybee sign to. Right here, I'm showing you where I got my blue color from. There's some pink in there as well. And just so you know, my objective today was to try and get all of the projects that I made to coordinate with the honeybee tiered tray decor set that I previously put out. Now, I know I have talked about this brand of transfers in my past videos. Again, this is a Dress My Craft transfer, and these transfers only require water, you guys. They are so super easy to use. Even a child could do this. These transfers are so crisp and so beautiful. I absolutely love them. I really can't say enough about the Dress My Craft transfers. They are definitely my most favorite transfers to use to date. By the way, this is non-spons, but Dress My Craft, if you are listening, I am definitely your girl. I'm open to sponsorship and affiliation. Just contact me. All right, you guys, let's get back up to speed. So what I have done with this transfer is just cut off the excess or the overhang that isn't part of the picture off of the transfer. And I'm going to try and center this onto my palette sign. I really wanted this project to be either a sign that can stand upright or lay flat as a tray. So this palette sign slash tray, oh my gosh, said that 10 times fast, is dual purpose. Now that I have cut it down to the size that I needed, I'm going to pull off the front plastic piece and recenter my transfer onto the palette. And then I'm going to go grab a wet paper towel, and I'm going to show you the reason why I think these transfers are magic. All you have to do is soak the backing until you can see the picture clearly, and then this is going to start to rub right off. Once I completely get all of the backing off of my picture, I take a microfiber cloth and gently dry up any extra moisture that is still on the picture. And also with that cloth, I'm able to rub this transfer into the grooves of my palette. Because I didn't have a plan past putting this transfer onto this palette sign, my brain is going 100 miles a minute because I'm trying to figure out what else I can do with it and how I can zhuzh it up. Do you guys remember the resin kit that I did? Well, I had leftover resin and micas from that kit. So here I am going through that, trying to figure out what I'm going to do to this palette sign. Maybe pour the resin? I wasn't really sure. Anyways, I ended up just deciding on using the gold mica and pulling out my Mod Podge. So now I'm going to give this palette sign one good coat of Mod Podge. While it is still wet, I'm going to sprinkle this gold mica all over it using my fan brush. Then I'm going to let it dry. Once it is dry, I'm going to go back in with a second coat of Mod Podge and just Mod Podge over the gold mica to make sure that it is sealed. Now that I have allowed this palette sign time to dry, I'm going to be pulling out my teeny tiny stencil brush and some charcoal pencils. Now what I'm going to do is make a faux frame around my picture. And the way that you do this is you take charcoal and then you smudge it with your stencil brush. Then I grab my other paintbrush and I just wisp the extra charcoal off of my palette because I do not want the excess charcoal to smudge anywhere over top of my picture. I am just trying to get a crisp, clean line with my charcoal. Then I'm going to smudge it to give it some depth, and then I'm going to clean that area. And I'm going to go all the way around my sign and do the same exact thing. First starting on the inside of my faux frame, and then I'm going to do the outside of my faux frame. I have been doing charcoal smudging for several years on my mixed media projects. It gives a certain depth appearance to your projects, and this is one of my go-tos when I'm trying to get a certain look and have my focal point pop out. Now, because charcoal is water soluble, I do not recommend putting Mod Podge on this unless it is the spray kind. You can use a sealer on this if you do not want it to go anywhere, and that is what I did to finish this project. Okay, you guys, let's move on to project number 3. Now, project number 3 was just a piece of scrap wood that was already painted white. I had it in my stash. What I taped down on top of it was another Dress My Craft transfer. I just wanted to make sure that it would fit on that piece of wood. Now, I'm pulling up the plastic film off of the transfer, and then I'm going to lay it back down as straight as possible. Now, again, you guys, this is a Dress My Craft transfer, which only requires water. So we're going to put water on the back until we can see the picture clearly. And you can either rub it off or peel it off. Once I'm done getting the back of the transfer off, I'm going to do the same exact thing that we did again with the palette sign. I'm going to give it a nice coat of Mod Podge, and then I'm going to come in with my gold mica, tap that on there. I'm going to allow that to dry, and then I'm going to put a sealing coat of Mod Podge on it. Next, you guys, I'm going to do the same exact thing that we did with our stencil brush and our charcoal. I'm just going to be going around the outside, just the outside of our black picture, and that is it. Again, you can seal this with a sealing spray or spray Mod Podge. All right, you guys, I really wasn't sure what direction I was going in with this Dollar Tree frame. This is a 4x6 frame that I got from Dollar Tree, and I find that the edges are always sharp, so I just sanded down the edges to make them a little bit more flush. Now I'm going to take the glass of my frame, and I'm going to use it so I can figure out how much of my sunflower I want to show. And also, I want to be able to cut the bee out. Now that my bee is cut out and I have laid it onto my sunflower, I really like where this side is going, and I feel like I need to do something for the other side. You guys, it was a whirlwind. It took me several hours to figure this out. I'm going to jump through everything that I did, but essentially I made a page for the other side. I ended up giving that page to one of my daughters and doing something completely different than what I had just done. Now, looking at what you're seeing right now, this page that's very bright yellow, I feel like I could have muted it a little bit if I had just thought about using glue and that gold mica. At the time, I didn't even see it, but now looking at it, I feel like I would have been able to mute it a little bit to make it match the first side or the first page, and it would have been fine. But like I said, I did end up giving this to one of my daughters. She was ecstatic. She saw the page laying over on my desk, and she's like, "What are you going to do with this? This is so cool, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, I don't know that I'm going to use it. I wasn't happy with it at the time because, again, it was so much brighter, so much more light yellow than what I was looking for. I was looking for those muted honey tones. So needless to say, again, that page did not make the cut, but my daughter was super happy. And you know, I aim to please. So as long as one of us was happy, that is what matters. All right. So basically what I decided to do is I wanted this side to actually look like a bumblebee where it had the yellow and then the black, but I also wanted to use this floral paper. So what I did was I cut 3 strips of the floral paper and I glued them into the frame. Then I took my charcoal pencil and stencil brush and did the exact same thing that we had done on the 2 previous projects. Then I took my Elmer's school glue and covered the yellow areas in between the floral strips. And then I took the gold mica and I used my paintbrush and just dusted the gold mica onto the glue. And then I decided to flip this frame over and give the sunflower a little bit of pizzazz. And I used the edge of my school glue to highlight the petals on the sunflower. And then I took my gold mica and I dusted it on with my paintbrush. I also highlighted the bumblebee with the gold mica, and then I dusted everything off before putting it back into the frame. And here this project is next to the previous project. And I really love the sunflower and bee side. I think it goes absolutely perfect with it. All right, you guys, so here we go again with another project with no direction. If you look up in the right-hand corner, you see there is a coaster with a bee on it, and what's behind it is actually bubble wrap that I painted. I have had this in my stash for several years, probably 5, 6, maybe years that I've had this, and I kept telling my husband, I'm gonna make you something one day, I'm gonna make you something one day, and because I was doing the bee theme, I thought this would be a perfect time to bring it out. So I want this piece to be our focal point. I just don't know. Do I want to put it in a frame? I really wasn't sure. So we are going to fast forward through this a little bit because, again, just like the previous project, this took several hours for me to figure out what I was doing because I just wasn't sure. I apologize in advance for being off screen in this section of the video. Now, as you can see, I do have some honeycomb chipboard. I knew I wanted to use that. I just didn't know where. I thought I wanted to maybe use some scrapbook paper. Again, I wasn't sure. So I'm going back and forth until I finally figure out, you know what? This is exactly what I wanted to do with it. I am going to keep my white frame with my black chalkboard, add my honeycomb chipboards as part of my background, and then I'm going to put the focal point on top of it. And on top of that, because I want the bees to match the Honeybee Tier Tray Decor set that I posted previously, I'm going to stamp a bee on a piece of paper and then make it have 3D wings. So I am going to explain to you how I was able to get my bee to have 3D wings. I did stamp this bee 3 separate times on 3 separate pieces of paper. One of the pieces of paper was a scrapbook page that I had, and I covered that with the Elmer School glue stick, and then the gold mica, and stamped on top of it. Then I cut this bee out with about a 3/32 of an inch overhang, so it showed like a gold outline around my bee. Then I took this bee and glued it to my watercolor paper. And then again, cut out about a 1/16 of an inch around the gold outline. So this made our base bee. Okay, so the second bee that I stamped, I only cut out the wings on that bee. No overhang, nothing. I cut it straight up to the stamp line of the wings. And then I glued those wings onto what is now like our gold winged bee. But I only glued them to the very inside where the wing would meet the body so that they could have a 3D effect. Then, with my third bee that I stamped, I cut this bee out completely, and again, straight to the outline of the bee, no overhang. Once I was done cutting that bee out, I glued that bee's body to the gold bee's body, leaving the wings to where they were not glued down and they could stick out to make a 3D effect. Okay, guys, we're going to move on to the honeycomb chipboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some of my Chalkator chalk paste in Shimmer Harvest with some water. And then I'm going to dab this mixture onto my honeycomb chipboard with a makeup sponge. Once I get it to the desired depth of color, holy, that was hard to say, I'm going to use my heat gun and dry it. Now I'm going to take my Elmer's stick school glue and I'm going to rub it on the back of the honeycomb chipboard and then put them in place on my framed chalkboard. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take my hot glue and put it all over the back of the bubble wrapping coaster. Then I'm going to lay some more chipboard onto the coaster to give it a little bit more depth, and then glue my 3D bee on top. And there you have it, guys. This long-awaited project. It's finally done. And lucky for me, my husband absolutely loved it. Babe, I'm sorry it took me mega years to make you something after you handed me the coaster. I love you, dope. Okay, you guys, I think we have made it to the final project of this decor set. And what we're going to be making is a faux book stack. Now, if you can see, this is the same ribbon that I used on the bee banner and tassels of my Honeybee Tier Tray decor set. So all I'm going to do is just tie this on here and glue it down. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my stamp set and the words happy, bee, and kind, and I'm going to stamp those onto the bookends of my faux book stack. Now, I'm pretty sure that my phone, when I was recording, died, and I didn't realize it because I'm missing footage for this part and also the beginning part of what I did with the hexagon tile. But I'm going to go through here and explain to you what I did. I got this wall tile from Dollar Tree and I just cut out the section that I wanted. And then I put Mod Podge on top of that because I wanted to be able to paint this with my white Adirondack chalk paint and the Shimmer Harvest chalk paste. And once I was done with that, then I put on a coat of Mod Podge. And this is so, again, I could use my charcoal method. Okay, so now that we are caught up, I'm going to be taking my charcoal pencil and I'm going to be putting it in the pre-made grooves of this honeycomb. I'm going to go around all 6 sides on each of the honeycomb pieces with my charcoal pencil. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to pull out my stencil brush and smudge all of my charcoal. Now I'm going to brush off any of the excess charcoal. And because I put this wall tile on a piece of printer paper and then sealed it with the Mod Podge so that I could paint over it, I'm going to cut it out. Now I'm going to place the honeycomb on top of my book stack and position it where I want it. Then I'm going to take my white Posca pen and I'm going to highlight each cell of the honeycomb. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to cut out 2 bees from my ephemera pack, and then I'm going to assemble the book stack. first gluing on my honeycomb and then gluing my bees on top. The very last thing I'm going to do is take my Elmer's glue stick and I'm going to use the edge of it and just highlight all the way around several of the sides of each of the honeycomb pieces and then under the words of happy, be, and kind. Then I'm going to take my gold mica and then I'm going to dust it on with a paintbrush. Now I'm going to dust off the excess gold mica and you guys, our final project has been completed. Well, that is it for this video. What did you guys think? Do you have a favorite? My husband has a favorite, but I bet you can't guess which one. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about my process or where I get my supplies and it's not already listed in the description box, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Again, please do me a solid and share this channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon if you haven't done so already, so you too can be the first to know when new videos are released. Until next time, my friends, craft like crazy, reign in the chaos, live life to the fullest, and I'll meet you right back here in my next video. Love you guys. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Heavenly Zen Designs, or visit my business page at www.heavenlyzendesigns.com.